So my regular co-host, Jason Howell, is at the Launch Festival today, and he called in. So let's take a look at what he saw.
Hey, thanks, Megan. Hey, take a look behind me. Okay, what you see right there is the Hyperloop. We've talked a little bit about the Hyperloop on Tech News Today before. I'm at Launch here in SF. We've kind of been here. We've got an awesome crew walking around the event all day long today to kind of take a look at just startup life, essentially. There are a ton of startups here from all walks of the industry. We've got robotics, AR, VR, smart home. Obviously, well, I don't know if you consider Hyperloop a startup, but still very cool stuff. In fact, one of the highlights of my day was talking with Shervin Pishavar. He's the founder of Hyperloop Technologies Incorporated. We kind of talked a little bit about the realities of rolling out the Hyperloop to make transportation just faster and easier. Talking about 750 miles per hour traveling through the tube to go from San Francisco to LA in like a half an hour. It's pretty crazy stuff. He had a lot of really interesting stuff to share. Obviously, they're targeting a 2020 date for having an active Hyperloop. I asked him if he thought that was realistic, and of course he said, I wouldn't say if I didn't think that it was. So I'll be very interested to see if that kind of, that produced at scale, and that's just one segment of what they're doing, connected from one point to another, actually comes to fruition in 4 years. It's a tall order, but he seems very confident in that. Some of the other stuff, robotics, really cool thing we saw, something called Cafe X. And it's essentially, I don't know if it's going to put baristas out of business, but it's a automated robotic barista, essentially. So you go up to it, it senses that you're nearby. If you've placed an order, let's say, away from the machine, it senses that you're nearby, it makes your order for you, it distributes it and puts out your coffee. They're working with all local, coffee makers and all that kind of stuff to really kind of make sure that the quality of the coffee is top notch. And it tastes pretty good, but it was really cool to see that robotic arm doing all the work for you, and you're kind of saving some money as well. So, but it's an interesting thing to keep an eye on. A lot of stuff with the smart home here. Took a look at actually quite a few things, but probably the highlights for me, a technology company called Noki. And it's this little device that you can, let's say, for example, mount underneath a table. You could set it on top of the table, or you could mount it underneath the table so that nobody sees it. And what it allows you to do is add in functionality so that when someone comes over to the table and does like a bap, bap, like a knock on the table, that could do something like turn on the lights in the house, or who knows? You can play around with that and use your imagination and see what you want a knocking on a table to actually do. It's kind of like the clapper for your table, I guess. Another thing that was really cool is the Ember Light, which is actually, if you're thinking about like smart lights and Philips Hue, it's an integrated system, but it requires a certain type of light bulbs. The Ember Light system is actually just kind of the mounting aspect of that. All of the technology is built into the Ember Light, and then the light bulb is screwed into that. So you can turn any light that you have in your house into a smart light and then connect it in all the ways that you can, all of the other smart home lights as well. You don't need a hub. It just kind of connects into systems that you already have. Very neat, kind of low-cost way to bring, your lights into the smart home world. I was really excited about some of this VR stuff because, as you know, Megan, I've been pretty thrilled with kind of the movement of VR right now. I'm getting even more excited. A couple of things I saw here. One thing is called Bounce Imaging, and it's this little kind of circular like black ball with a bunch of cameras that are all around it. And essentially what it's for is they're designing it first of all for like first responders, let's say. So they get to a place that they can't get into. Why it's called Bounce, it's because you can throw it into an area that you can't quite get into or you don't want to get into, and it will live stream using all of those cameras in full immersive 360-degree video where what's happening on the inside. So you can actually monitor everything that's happening in there without having to go in. Really neat and super durable, obviously, because you're going to be throwing this thing around, but I could totally see the consumer market getting in on it as well. And then this was probably one of my favorite things of the entire event, immersive entertainment. And now basically they had an HTC Vive on hand that I was thankfully able to finally check out, and it was really cool. So what they're doing is they're creating immersive environments. In this demo, it was the Grand Canyon, and you're on, a canoe, and basically your controller is the paddle. And I'm going along, and it's super duper cool and very immersive, looking all around. Then suddenly in front of me is a flashlight that appears. Reach out with my physical hand. What do you know? There's another controller that's now my flashlight. I hate to say it, it was the trippiest thing that I've seen in a really long time. That kind of, that immersive quality of not real meeting the real tangible world. It was really hard to explain, but I gotta say I'm even more excited about VR and specifically the HTC Vive after that demo. And finally, you may have noticed I've got another thumb ring. That's right. This is the smart ring. People make fun of me because of my one thumb ring. Now I've got two, so eat it. Anyways, NFC ring. They were on hand to kind of show off what you can do if you have NFC built into your ring. We've talked about it on All About Android, and I'm sure it was on TNT a few years ago when they first did their Kickstarter and all that kind of stuff. Cool to see it in action. But that's really about it. Just a lot of fun roaming around the demo pit and everything. Obviously, everybody that's here, they're super pumped up to be here because this is their startup. They're really just kind of here working to generate, excitement around the thing that they're really passionate about, and you really feel it in the air. So this is Launch SF 2016, and I don't know, I'm really looking forward to seeing what of these companies that we've seen today become the next big thing down the line.